Jake Harrison stood in the grand hall of Harmony Station. His heart was beating so fast he thought everyone could hear it. Today was the day humans would meet the Zephyrians face to face for the first time in history. The room was enormous. One side had Earth's flags hanging on the wall. The other side had strange symbols that glowed softly. They were Zephyrian symbols. In the middle was a long white table with chairs that looked like they were made of crystal. Jake was a translator. He had studied the Zephyrian language for 3 years. He could speak it perfectly. But today, his hands would not stop shaking. Captain Brooks stood next to him. She was the leader of the human team. "Remember the rules," she whispered to Jake and the others. "Be formal. Use proper titles. Do not speak unless spoken to directly. And for God's sake, do not touch anything." Jake nodded. He wiped his sweaty hands on his uniform. The doors on the far side opened. Jake's breath stopped. The Zephyrians walked in like they were floating on air. They were so tall, much taller than any human. Their skin was not like human skin at all. It looked like liquid metal. It changed colors as they moved. Silver turned to blue, blue turned to purple. It was the most beautiful thing Jake had ever seen. The leader came first. He wore long robes that sparkled like stars. His face was sharp and serious. His skin was dark blue with gold streaks. Behind him walked 4 other Zephyrians. They all looked important and powerful. But then Jake saw her. She walked at the back of the group. She was younger than the others, smaller too, but still taller than Jake. Her skin was mostly silver with pale blue streaks running through it. Her eyes were huge and dark like the night sky. Her hair, if you could call it hair, floated around her head like she was underwater. It glowed softly with white light. Jake could not look away from her. She was the most gorgeous creature he had ever seen. The Zephyrian leader stopped in front of Captain Brooks. He raised his hand in greeting. His voice sounded like wind chimes when he spoke. "I am Ambassador Velkara of Zephyr Prime. We come in peace to meet the humans of Earth." Captain Brooks bowed her head. "I am Captain Lisa Brooks. On behalf of Earth, we welcome you to Harmony Station. We are honored by your presence." The formal greetings continued. Jake was supposed to stay quiet. He was just backup. The main translator was Dr. Chen, who stood on the other side of the captain. But Jake could not stop staring at the young Zephyrian girl. She caught him looking. Her dark eyes met his. Jake felt his face turn red. He quickly looked away, but then he looked back. She was still watching him. Something like curiosity showed on her face. Ambassador Velkara gestured to his group. "Allow me to introduce my council, and this," he pointed to the young female, "is my daughter, Lyra. She is training to be a diplomat like her father." Lyra stepped forward. She bowed her head the way her father had done. Her skin rippled with soft colors, pink mixed with the silver. She looked nervous too. Captain Brooks smiled. "Welcome, Lyra. We hope you will learn much during this visit." Lyra opened her mouth to respond, but she seemed shy. Her skin flickered with more pink. She looked at Jake again. Their eyes met for the second time. Jake's brain stopped working. He forgot where he was. He forgot the rules. He forgot everything except how beautiful she looked standing there with her skin glowing like moonlight. The words came out of his mouth before he could stop them. "You're gorgeous," Jake said softly in Galactic Standard. The entire room went silent. Every human froze. Every Zephyrian froze. Captain Brooks's face turned white with horror. Dr. Chen gasped, but Jake did not notice any of it, because Lyra's skin suddenly turned bright pink, all of it, from her head to her feet. The color was so bright it almost glowed. Her eyes went wide. Her mouth opened in shock. Then the room exploded with noise. Ambassador Velkara's skin turned dark red. "What did you say?" His voice was no longer pretty like wind chimes. It was loud and angry like thunder. The other Zephyrians started talking all at once in their language. The humans started shouting too. Captain Brooks grabbed Jake's arm hard. "Jake, what did you just do?" she hissed. Jake's mind was catching up now. Horror filled his chest. I just said she was gorgeous. What's wrong with that?" Dr. Chen's face was pale. "Jake, in Zephyrian culture, calling someone gorgeous in that tone, it means... oh, God, it means you're claiming them as your mate. It's basically a marriage proposal." Jake felt like he was going to faint. "What?" The Zephyrian guards moved forward. They surrounded Jake. Their skin was turning red and orange, which Jake had learned meant anger or danger. Captain Brooks stepped between Jake and the guards. "Ambassador, please, he did not know. It was a mistake, a cultural misunderstanding." Ambassador Valkara's skin was still dark red. "Your human has claimed my daughter. This is a serious offense. He must face consequences." But then a soft voice cut through all the noise. "Father, wait." Everyone turned. Lyra stepped forward. Her skin was still bright pink. Her hands were trembling, but she looked at Jake with those huge dark eyes. She looked at him like she was seeing something wonderful and terrifying at the same time. She took a small step closer to Jake. The guards tensed, but she ignored them. She stopped right in front of Jake, so close he could see his reflection in her eyes. Then she whispered, just loud enough for everyone to hear, "Say it again, human." The entire room went silent again. Jake's heart stopped. Lyra's skin glowed even brighter pink. She waited. Everyone waited. And Jake realized his life had just changed forever. The silence in the hall felt like it could crush bones. Every eye was on Jake. Every breath was held. Lyra stood inches from him, her skin glowing bright pink like a neon sign. Her dark eyes stared into his soul. "Say it again, human," she whispered. Jake's mouth went dry. His brain screamed at him to stay quiet, to apologize, to fix this mess. But something in Lyra's eyes made him freeze. She did not look angry. She looked hopeful? Desperate? He could not tell. "Jake, do not say another word," Captain Brooks shouted. She tried to pull him back, but the Zephyrian guards blocked her path. Ambassador Valkara's skin was burning dark red now. "Silence, Captain. Your human has spoken forbidden words to my daughter. He must answer for this." "It was a mistake," Dr. Chen yelled. "He did not know what it meant." "Ignorance is not an excuse," another Zephyrian elder shouted. His skin flashed orange with rage. "The claiming words have been spoken. There are consequences." Jake finally found his voice. "Please, I'm sorry. I did not mean to offend anyone. She looked beautiful and I..." "Beautiful?" Ambassador Valkara roared. The windows rattled. "You dare say it again?" Lyra gasped. Her pink glow grew even brighter. She covered her mouth with her hands. Her whole body was trembling now. One of the Zephyrian elders stepped forward. She was old, with skin that looked like ancient silver. "Ambassador, the law is clear. The human has made a claim. 2 times he has spoken the bonding words. Your daughter must now respond." "She will reject it," Valkara snapped. "Obviously she will reject it. He is a stranger, an alien, a human." The old elder shook her head slowly. "That is her choice to make, not yours." All eyes turned to Lyra. She stood frozen, staring at Jake. The pink in her skin started to pulse like a heartbeat, slow, steady. Everyone waited. Jake felt sweat running down his back. "Please," he said quietly to Lyra, "I'm sorry. I did not mean to put you in this position. You can reject me. I understand. I won't be offended." Lyra's eyes widened. For a long moment she said nothing. Then, so softly Jake almost missed it, she spoke. I need time to think." The room exploded with shocked voices. The old elder raised her hand for silence. "By our law, when a claim is made, the receiver has 3 days to accept or reject. If she accepts, the claimer must prove himself worthy through the trials of worth. If he fails, he will be executed for false claiming. If she rejects, the claimer must leave Zephyr space forever and never return. Jake's blood turned to ice. Executed? Captain Brooks pushed past the guards. This is insane! He made a mistake! You cannot kill him for a misunderstanding! It is our law, Ambassador Velcara said coldly, and it cannot be broken. My daughter has 3 days to decide this human's fate. Lyra looked at her father, then back at Jake. Her skin was still pink, but now it mixed with streaks of white and blue. Jake had learned enough to know that meant she was confused, scared, maybe both. I will give my answer in 3 days, Lyra said. Her voice was stronger now. Until then, the human Jake Harrison will remain on Harmony Station under guard. Lyra, you cannot be serious about this, her father shouted. You said it was my choice, father. Lyra's skin flashed with purple streaks, anger. I am making it. 3 days. With that, she turned and walked out of the hall. Her skin still glowed pink as she disappeared through the door. The other Zephyrians followed her, except for 2 guards who stayed behind to watch Jake. When they were gone, Captain Brooks grabbed Jake by the shoulders. Do you have any idea what you have done? I said she was pretty. How was I supposed to know? This could start a war, Jake. If she rejects you, you can never set foot in Zephyrian space again. That means no treaty, no alliance, no peace. If she accepts you and you fail the trials, they will kill you, and Earth will lose its best chance at an alien friendship. Jake sank into a chair. His legs would not hold him anymore. What are these trials? Dr. Chen pulled out his tablet. His hands shook as he scrolled through files. I have heard stories. The trials of worth are ancient Zephyrian tradition. 3 tests: mental, physical, spiritual. They are designed to be almost impossible. Most Zephyrians cannot pass them. A human has never tried. Great, Jake whispered. Just great. 2 days later, Jake had not slept. He was kept in a small room on Harmony Station with 2 Zephyrian guards outside his door. Captain Brooks visited him twice, bringing food and looking more worried each time. Dr. Chen brought every book and file about Zephyrian culture that existed. Jake read them all. He learned that claiming someone was the highest honor in Zephyrian culture. It meant you saw someone's soul and found it perfect. It meant you would die for them, fight for them. The trials of worth existed to prove the claimer was serious, not just speaking pretty words. Jake also learned something else, something that made his stomach hurt. Lyra was already engaged. Her father had arranged a marriage with the son of another powerful Zephyrian family, a warrior named Kale Hor. The wedding was supposed to happen 6 months. If Lyra accepted Jake's claim, it would break that engagement. It would insult Kale Hor's family. It could cause political chaos. She'll reject me, Jake told himself. She has to. She does not even know me. But then he remembered the way she looked at him, the way her skin turned pink, the way she whispered, "Say it again, human." A knock on his door made him jump. One of the guards opened it. Jake expected Captain Brooks. Instead, Lyra walked in. Jake shot to his feet. What are you doing here? Lyra's skin was light blue now, calm, controlled, but her hands twisted together nervously. I needed to speak to you, alone. The guards didn't like it, but they stepped outside and closed the door. Lyra and Jake stood in the small room, staring at each other. I've been thinking about what you said, about why you said it. It just came out. I just saw you and I thought you were the most beautiful being I had ever seen. The words just happened. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Lyra took a step closer. Her skin flickered with pink for just a moment. In my culture, claiming someone is sacred. It means you saw something true, something real. You can't fake it. But I didn't know what I was saying. Did you mean it? Lyra interrupted, her eyes locked onto his. When you called me gorgeous, when you said beautiful, did you mean those words, or were they just sounds? Jake swallowed hard.
He could lie, make this easier for both of them, but something in Lyra's eyes demanded truth. "I meant them," he whispered, every word. Lyra's skin exploded with pink light, so bright Jake had to squint. She stepped even closer, so close he could feel warmth radiating from her skin. "I have a confession," she said. Her voice was shaking. "I have been studying Earth for 2 years, learning about humans, reading your books, watching your movies. I volunteered to come on this mission. I wanted to meet a human." Jake's heart started beating faster. "Why?" "Because in all the galaxy, humans are unique. You feel things deeply. You love with your whole soul. You see beauty in everything. I wanted to know what that was like." Her skin pulsed with pink and white. "And then you looked at me and said those words, and I felt something I have never felt before." "What did you feel?" Jake barely breathed. Her hand reached up, almost touching his face, but she stopped just before contact. "Hope," she whispered. "I held hope that maybe I could choose my own future, not the one my father planned, not marriage to Kale Vor who sees me as a political tool. Maybe I could choose someone who sees me as gorgeous." Jake's mind was spinning. "So you're going to accept?" Lyra's skin turned darker. Blue and purple swirled together. Fear. "I do not know yet. If I accept and you fail the trials, you die. If I accept and you succeed, I defy my father and break an engagement and possibly start a political war. But if I reject you," her voice cracked, "if I reject you, you leave forever and I go back to my cage." They stood in silence. Jake's hand slowly reached out and hovered near hers, not touching, but close. "What do you want, Lyra?" he asked softly. Before she could answer, alarms blared throughout the station. Red lights flashed. The door burst inward. Captain Brooks ran in, her face pale. "We have a problem. Kale Vor just arrived at Harmony Station with a warship. He is demanding to see Lyra. He knows about the claim." Lyra's skin went pure white. Terror. "He will kill you," she whispered to Jake. "He will kill you before the 3 days are up, before I can even decide." Jake heard heavy footsteps in the hallway, shouting, the sound of weapons powering up. Lyra grabbed his hand, her skin burned hot against his. She looked into his eyes with desperate intensity. "I have made my decision."
Kale Vor stood in the doorway like a mountain made of rage. He was massive, twice Jake's size. His armor gleamed black in the station lights. His weapon hummed with deadly energy. His skin burned blood red with fury. "You dare accept this human's claim?" Kale Vor snarled at Lyra. "You were promised to me. Your father gave his word." "My father does not own me," Lyra shouted back. Her skin flashed with purple and pink, anger and defiance mixed together. "The law says I can accept any claim I choose. I choose Jake." Kale Vor's weapon powered up. The sound made Jake's bones vibrate. "Then I invoke my right as the rejected suitor. I challenge this human to combat. If he cannot defeat me, he dies. His claim becomes void, and you return to me, Lyra." Captain Brooks stepped between them. "This is a diplomatic station. You cannot start a fight here." "It is not a fight." Ambassador Velkara's voice cut through the chaos. He walked into the room with the old silver elder beside him. His skin was dark blue, disappointed. "It is the law. Kale Vor has the right to challenge for Lyra's hand." "Father, please," Lyra begged, "do not let this happen." "You made your choice, daughter." Velkara's eyes were cold. "Now the human must prove he is worthy of it. If he survives Kale Vor, then he faces the 3 trials of worth. If he fails any trial, he dies. That is our way." Jake felt like he was standing on the edge of a cliff. His training never prepared him for this. He was a translator, a scholar, not a warrior. Kale Vor could crush him with one hand. But then he felt Lyra's hand squeeze his. She was trembling. Her skin flickered between pink and white, hope and fear. She had chosen him. She had risked everything. He could not let her down. "I accept the challenge," Jake said. His voice shook, but he said it anyway. Kael'vor's laugh was cruel. Brave words from a dead man. The combat arena, 1 hour later. They moved to the station's cargo bay. It was the only space big enough. The Zephyrians formed a circle around the open area. The humans stood on the other side. Captain Brooks looked like she wanted to stop this, but the old elder had explained, once a challenge was made, it could not be stopped. Only death or surrender would end it. Jake stood in the center of the circle. He wore no armor. He had no weapon except a small metal rod that Dr. Chen had found. It was meant for equipment repairs. Now it was all Jake had. Kael'vor entered from the other side. He had removed his armor to make it fair, but his skin was like metal, thick and hard. Scars covered his arms and chest. This was a warrior who had fought 100 battles and won them all. "You can still surrender, human," Kael'vor said. "Run back to Earth. Live your pathetic life. Forget about Lyra." Jake looked past Kael'vor. Lyra stood with her father. Her skin was pale pink. She mouthed 2 words. "Be careful." "No," Jake said. "I will not surrender." Kael'vor's laugh was cruel. Brave words from a dead man. The combat arena, 1 hour later. They moved to the station's cargo bay. It was the only space big enough. The Zephyrians formed a circle around the open area. The humans stood on the other side. Captain Brooks looked like she wanted to stop this, but the old elder had explained, once a challenge was made, it could not be stopped. Only death or surrender would end it. Jake stood in the center of the circle. He wore no armor. He had no weapon except a small metal rod that Dr. Chen had found. It was meant for equipment repairs. Now it was all Jake had. Kael'vor entered from the other side. He had removed his armor to make it fair, but his skin was like metal, thick and hard. Scars covered his arms and chest. This was a warrior who had fought 100 battles and won them all. "You can still surrender, human," Kael'vor said. "Run back to Earth. Live your pathetic life. Forget about Lyra." Jake looked past Kael'vor. Lyra stood with her father. Her skin was pale pink. She mouthed 2 words. "Be careful." "No," Jake said. "I will not surrender." Kael'vor's laugh was cruel. Brave words from a dead man. The combat arena, 1 hour later. They moved to the station's cargo bay. It was the only space big enough. The Zephyrians formed a circle around the open area. The humans stood on the other side. Captain Brooks looked like she wanted to stop this, but the old elder had explained, once a challenge was made, it could not be stopped. Only death or surrender would end it. Jake stood in the center of the circle. He wore no armor. He had no weapon except a small metal rod that Dr. Chen had found. It was meant for equipment repairs. Now it was all Jake had. Kael'vor entered from the other side. He had removed his armor to make it fair, but his skin was like metal, thick and hard. Scars covered his arms and chest. This was a warrior who had fought 100 battles and won them all. "You can still surrender, human," Kael'vor said. "Run back to Earth. Live your pathetic life. Forget about Lyra." Jake looked past Kael'vor. Lyra stood with her father. Her skin was pale pink. She mouthed 2 words. "Be careful." "No," Jake said. "I will not surrender." Kael'vor's laugh was cruel. Brave words from a dead man. The combat arena, 1 hour later. They moved to the station's cargo bay. It was the only space big enough.
The Zephyrians formed a circle around the open area. The humans stood on the other side. Captain Brooks looked like she wanted to stop this, but the old elder had explained, once a challenge was made, it could not be stopped. Only death or surrender would end it. Jake stood in the center of the circle. He wore no armor. He had no weapon except a small metal rod that Dr. Chen had found. It was meant for equipment repairs. Now it was all Jake had. Kael'vor entered from the other side. He had removed his armor to make it fair, but his skin was like metal, thick and hard. Scars covered his arms and chest. This was a warrior who had fought 100 battles and won them all. "You can still surrender, human," Kael'vor said. "Run back to Earth. Live your pathetic life. Forget about Lyra." Jake looked past Kael'vor. Lyra stood with her father. Her skin was pale pink. She mouthed 2 words, "Be careful." "No," Jake said. "I will not surrender." Kael'vor's laugh was cruel. Brave words from a dead man. The combat arena, 1 hour later. They moved to the station's cargo bay. It was the only space big enough. The Zephyrians formed a circle around the open area. The humans stood on the other side. Captain Brooks looked like she wanted to stop this, but the old elder had explained, once a challenge was made, it could not be stopped. Only death or surrender would end it. Jake stood in the center of the circle. He wore no armor. He had no weapon except a small metal rod that Dr. Chen had found. It was meant for equipment repairs. Now it was all Jake had. Kael'vor entered from the other side. He had removed his armor to make it fair, but his skin was like metal, thick and hard. Scars covered his arms and chest. This was a warrior who had fought 100 battles and won them all. "You can still surrender, human," Kael'vor said. "Run back to Earth. Live your pathetic life. Forget about Lyra." Jake looked past Kael'vor. Lyra stood with her father. Her skin was pale pink. She mouthed 2 words, "Be careful." "No," Jake said. "I will not surrender." Kael'vor's laugh was cruel. Brave words from a dead man. The combat arena, 1 hour later. They moved to the station's cargo bay. It was the only space big enough. The Zephyrians formed a circle around the open area. The humans stood on the other side. Captain Brooks looked like she wanted to stop this, but the old elder had explained, once a challenge was made, it could not be stopped. Only death or surrender would end it. Jake stood in the center of the circle. He wore no armor. He had no weapon except a small metal rod that Dr. Chen had found. It was meant for equipment repairs. Now it was all Jake had. Kael'vor entered from the other side. He had removed his armor to make it fair, but his skin was like metal, thick and hard. Scars covered his arms and chest. This was a warrior who had fought 100 battles and won them all. "You can still surrender, human," Kael'vor said. "Run back to Earth. Live your pathetic life. Forget about Lyra." Jake looked past Kael'vor. Lyra stood with her father. Her skin was pale pink. She mouthed 2 words, "Be careful." "No," Jake said. "I will not surrender." Kael'vor's laugh was cruel. Brave words from a dead man. The combat arena, 1 hour later. They moved to the station's car.
Jake did not sleep that night. How could he? Tomorrow he would fight Kael'vor again, and this time the alien warrior would show no mercy. He sat on the floor of his quarters, trying to calm his racing heart. His body still hurt from their first fight. Bruises covered his ribs. His throat was sore where Kael'vor had choked him, and that was when Lyra had saved him. Tomorrow, no one could save him. A soft sound made him look up. His door was opening. Again. Lyra slipped inside, her skin glowing pale blue in the darkness. "You should not keep coming here," Jake said quietly. "Your father will find out." "I do not care anymore." Lyra's voice was different, harder, angrier. She moved to sit beside him on the floor. There is something I need to tell you, something about why my father promised me to Kael'vor." Jake turned to face her. In the dim light, her skin pulsed with dark blue and purple, sadness and rage. "What is it?" Lyra took a deep breath. "My mother died 5 years ago. She was everything to me. Kind, strong, she believed I should choose my own path. But when she died, my father changed. He became obsessed with power, with control, with making alliances." Her skin flickered faster. "Kael'vor's family controls the military fleet, thousands of warships. My father wants that power, so he promised me to Kael'vor like I was a piece of property to trade." "That's horrible," Jake whispered. "It gets worse." Lyra's eyes met his. Even in the dark, they seemed to glow. "Kael'vor does not love me. He does not even like me. He wants me because I am the ambassador's daughter, because marrying me gives him political power. He told me once that after we marry, I will never speak in public again, never have opinions, just stand beside him and look pretty." Jake felt anger burning in his chest. "He said that to you?" "Yes, and when I protested, he—" Lyra's voice broke. She pulled down the collar of her robe. On her shoulder was a scar. It looked like a burn mark. "He did this, to remind me who would be in control." Jake's hands clenched into fists. "He hurt you?" "My father does not know. Kael'vor said if I told anyone, he would hurt me worse after the wedding. So I stayed silent, afraid, trapped." A silver tear ran down her glowing face. "Until you called me gorgeous, until you looked at me like I was worth something, like I mattered." She grabbed Jake's hand. Her skin was hot with emotion. "That is why I accepted your claim, not just to escape, but because for the first time in 5 years, someone saw me, not my father's power, not a political tool, just me." Jake pulled her close. She pressed her forehead against his chest. Her whole body trembled. "I will not let him hurt you again," Jake promised. "Tomorrow I will beat him. I do not care how impossible it seems. I will find a way." Lyra looked up at him. Her skin turned soft pink. "How? He is twice your size, 3 times your strength. He has trained for combat his entire life." "I have something he does not," Jake said softly. "What?" "A reason to win that matters more than pride." Jake cupped her glowing face in his hands. "I am fighting for you, Lyra, and that makes me more dangerous than any warrior." Lyra's skin blazed bright pink. She leaned forward and pressed her forehead to his again. The Zephyrian kiss. Jake felt warmth spread through his entire body. "Win tomorrow. Please, Jake, win, because I cannot survive a lifetime with him. I would rather die." "You will not have to," Jake promised. "I swear it." They stayed like that for a long time, holding each other, sharing warmth, sharing light, sharing hope. When Lyra finally left, Jake felt different, stronger, more focused. He was going to win tomorrow, no matter what it took. The trial of body, combat arena. The cargo bay had been transformed. The floor was now sand. Ancient Zephyrian weapons hung on the walls. Hundreds of spectators filled the space. Zephyrians on one side, humans on the other. In the center stood 2 circles drawn in the sand, one for the warrior, one for the challenger. Jake stood in his circle, wearing simple combat clothes, no armor, no weapons, just his human body against an alien warrior who had never lost. Kael'vor entered from the opposite side. The crowd roared. He wore traditional Zephyrian combat gear, flexible but strong. His skin was blood red, battle-ready. Scars covered his arms and chest like medals. He stepped into his circle and smiled at Jake, a cruel, hungry smile. "I have been waiting for this, human. Today I will break you, and tonight I will claim Lyra as my prize." Jake said nothing. He just stared back, cold, calm, ready. The old elder stepped between the circles.
The trial of body tests strength, endurance, and warrior spirit. You will fight until one cannot continue. No weapons, no interference, no mercy. She looked at both fighters. Do you understand? Yes, they said together. The elder raised her hand. The trial begins now. She dropped her hand and jumped back. Kael'vor charged immediately, like a bull, fast and brutal. His fist came at Jake's head like a hammer. But Jake was ready. He had learned from their first fight. He knew he could not match Kael'vor's strength, but he could match his determination. Jake ducked under the punch and rolled away. Kael'vor's fist hit empty air. Still running, coward? Kael'vor laughed. Not running, thinking. He had studied human versus alien combat all night. Humans had one advantage: endurance. On Earth, humans evolved to chase prey for hours, to outlast larger, stronger animals, to win through patience and persistence. Zephyrians were strong, but their bodies burned energy fast. If Jake could make this fight last, make Kael'vor waste his strength, maybe he had a chance. Kael'vor charged again. Jake dodged. Again, dodged. Again, dodged. Stand still! Kael'vor roared. His skin grew darker red, frustrated. Make me, Jake shot back. The fight became a dance, Kael'vor attacking, Jake evading. Minutes passed, then 10 minutes, then 20 minutes. Kael'vor was breathing harder now, his movements slightly slower. Jake was tired too, but he kept moving, kept dodging, kept waiting for his moment. I will kill you, Kael'vor screamed. He was losing control, anger replacing strategy. He lunged wildly. Jake finally stopped dodging. Instead, he stepped inside Kael'vor's reach and punched upward into the alien's throat, the same weak spot he had found before. Kael'vor dagged and stumbled back. Jake did not stop. He kicked Kael'vor's knee, the same knee he had hit in their first fight. It was already weak. It buckled. Kael'vor fell to one knee. Jake moved behind him and locked his arm around the alien's thick neck, a chokehold. Surrender, Jake hissed in Kael'vor's ear. Give up and walk away. Kael'vor's laugh was choked but still cruel. Never. I would rather die than lose to a human. He reached back with impossible strength and grabbed Jake. He flipped him over his shoulder and slammed him into the sand, hard. Jake's vision went white with pain. Kael'vor stood over him. Blood dripped from his mouth. His skin was darker red than ever. You fought well, human, but it was not enough. He raised his foot to stomp on Jake's chest, a killing blow. But then a voice rang out across the arena. Stop! Everyone turned. Lyra stood at the edge of the circle. Her skin blazed with purple and pink, fury and desperation. Lyra, you cannot interfere, Ambassador Velkara shouted. I am not interfering. Lyra's voice shook with emotion. I am confessing. The arena went silent. Kael'vor lowered his foot, confused. Confessing what? The old elder asked. Lyra stepped forward. Tears streamed down her glowing face. I confess that I orchestrated everything. The meeting, the claim, all of it. Gasps filled the room. Ambassador Velkara's skin went pale. What are you saying? I spent 2 years studying Earth, studying humans, studying Jake Harrison specifically. Lyra's voice grew stronger. I volunteered for this mission. I made sure I would be in that hall. I stood where Jake would see me. I wore colors I knew would attract attention. Jake stared at her from the ground. His chest hurt. His body screamed in pain, but his heart hurt more. Lyra, why would you do that? I am telling the truth. Lyra turned to her father. I manipulated the situation so Jake would notice me, so he would say something. I wanted him to make the claim, because I was desperate to escape my engagement to Kael'vor. Kael'vor's skin turned black with rage. You used this human? Yes, Lyra shouted, but her skin pulsed with pink even as she said it. I used him. I manipulated him. Jake Harrison is innocent. He did not know what he was saying. It was all my plan. The old elder stepped forward. Her face was grave. "This is true. Then the claim is false."
Dawn came too quickly. Jake stood before the massive black door of the Chamber of Souls. His ribs still ached. His body was covered in bruises from yesterday's fight, but his mind was clear, focused, ready. The entire station had gathered to watch. Hundreds of Zephyrians, all the humans. Everyone wanted to see if a human could survive what so many aliens had failed. Ambassador Velkara stood near the door. His skin was dark blue, troubled. He had barely spoken to Lyra since her confession yesterday. The disappointment in his eyes cut deeper than any wound. Lyra stood beside her father. Her skin was pale, almost white. Fear. She had not slept. Jake could see it in her face. She knew what waited inside that chamber, and it terrified her. The old elder approached Jake. In her hands was a silver crown. "This device will monitor your mind while you are inside. If your heart stops, we will pull you out. If you go mad, we will pull you out. But if you surrender," she paused, "if you choose to give up, there is no rescue. You will be lost forever." "I understand," Jake said. "Do you?" The elder's ancient eyes searched his face. "Many brave warriors have entered this chamber, strong Zephyrians with powerful spirits. They saw their fears and broke like glass. What makes you think a human can survive what they could not?" Jake looked past her at Lyra. Their eyes met. Her skin flickered with the faintest pink. Love, hope, fear. "Because I have something worth surviving for," Jake said simply. The elder placed the crown on his head. It felt cold, heavy. "The chamber will show you your deepest fear, your greatest pain, your darkest truth. You cannot fight what you see inside. You can only accept it, understand it, and let it go." She stepped back. "If your spirit is strong enough." She gestured to the door. "Enter, Jake Harrison. Face yourself." The black door swung open. Inside was only darkness, deep, absolute, like staring into the void of space. Jake took one last look at Lyra. He smiled. She smiled back through her tears. Then he walked into the darkness. The door slammed shut behind him. Inside the chamber. At first there was nothing, just darkness so complete Jake could not see his own hands. Then slowly, light began to grow, dim at first, then brighter, brighter. Jake found himself standing in a familiar place. His heart sank. No, anywhere but here. He was in his childhood home on Earth, the small apartment where he grew up. Every detail was perfect. The worn couch, the faded pictures on the wall, the smell of his mother's cooking. "No," Jake whispered. "Please, not this." A door opened. A woman walked out. Jake's breath caught. His mother. She looked exactly as he remembered, before the sickness, before the hospital, before the end. "Mom," Jake's voice cracked. "You not real," Jake said. His hands shook. "This is the chamber. You're just a trick." "Does it matter?" His mother sat on the couch. "Real or not, you need to hear this." "Hear what?" "That you abandoned me." Her voice was soft, but each word was a knife. "I was dying. I needed you, and you left." Jake fell to his knees. I had to go to training, the translator program. It was my one chance." "To escape," his mother finished. "To run away from watching me die. You chose aliens over your own mother. You chose a career over family. And when I died, you were on the other side of the world. I died alone because of you." "No," Jake sobbed. Tears poured down his face. "I came back as soon as I heard. I tried." "You were too late." His mother's face showed no anger, just sadness, disappointment. "I called for you at the end. I wanted to see you one more time, but you were not there. You were learning alien languages, chasing your dreams, and I died calling your name."
Jake doubled over. The pain in his chest had nothing to do with his broken ribs. This was the fear he carried every day, the guilt that never left, the knowledge that he had failed the person who loved him most. "I'm sorry," he sobbed. "Mom, I'm so sorry. I should have been there. I should have stayed. I was selfish and stupid and—" "And now you're doing it again," his mother said quietly. Jake looked up. "What?" "You're risking your life for someone you barely know, an alien girl. You'll die in this chamber. And for what? For love? You do not know what real love is. Real love is sacrifice. Real love is staying, even when it's hard, even when you want to run." She stood, walked toward him. "You are going to die here, die for a girl you've known for days, and I will have lost my son twice, once when you left me, and now when you die for nothing." Jake's mind spiraled. She was right. What was I doing? I barely knew Lyra. This was insane, stupid. I should surrender, walk out, go back to Earth, live my life, stop running toward danger. But then a voice whispered in his mind, Lyra's voice. "Please do not fail." And Jake remembered something, a conversation with his mother before he left for training. She had been weak, so weak, but she held his hand and smiled. "Go," she whispered. "Chase your dreams, Jake. Do not let fear hold you back. I am so proud of you." "But you're sick. You need me." "I need you to be happy," she had whispered. "I need you to live a life full of wonder and love and adventure. Promise me you will not waste your life on regret. Promise me you will be brave." Jake had promised. He had kept that promise, even through the pain, even through the guilt. He looked at the vision of his mother. "You're not her," Jake said. His voice was stronger now. "My real mother would never blame me for being brave, for following my heart, for fighting for love." The vision flickered. "Jake, but she told me to chase my dreams." Jake stood. His tears still fell, but his eyes were fierce. "She told me to be brave, and that is what I am doing. Lyra is not just some alien girl I barely know. She is a person who saw me, who chose me, who risked everything for a chance at freedom. My mother would have loved her, and she would have told me to fight." The vision of his mother began to fade, but before it disappeared completely, it smiled. A real smile, proud. "There's my boy. There's my brave boy." Then it was gone. The apartment dissolved. Jake stood in darkness again, but this time he was not afraid. A new light appeared, brighter, warmer. Jake walked toward it. The light grew and grew until it was blinding. Then suddenly he was standing in a field of flowers, alien flowers he had never seen before. They glowed with soft colors, pink, blue, silver, just like Lyra's skin. And there she was, standing in the middle of the field. But this Lyra looked different, older, sadder. Her skin was dull gray, like ash. "You survived your fear. Now you must face mine." Jake approached her carefully. "What happened to you?" "This is what I saw in the chamber 3 years ago." Lyra's voice was empty. "My future, my fate." The field around him changed. The flowers withered and died. The sky turned dark. Jake saw himself lying on the ground, dead, his eyes open and empty. "You will die in the final trial, and I will be forced to marry Calvor. He will hurt me, control me, break me, until I become this." She gestured to her gray, lifeless skin. "A shell, a ghost, living but not alive." Jake felt his heart breaking. "Lyra, you will die here, die for a girl you've known for days, and I will have lost my son twice, once when you left me, and now when you die for nothing." Jake's mind spiraled. She was right. What was I doing? I barely knew Lyra.
This was insane, stupid. I should surrender, walk out, go back to Earth, live my life, stop running toward danger. But then a voice whispered in his mind, Lyra's voice, "Please do not fail." And Jake remembered something, a conversation with his mother before he left for training. She had been weak, so weak, but she held his hand and smiled. "Go," she whispered. "Chase your dreams, Jake. Do not let fear hold you back. I am so proud of you." "But you're sick. You need me." "I need you to be happy," she had whispered. "I need you to live a life full of wonder and love and adventure. Promise me you will not waste your life on regret. Promise me you will be brave." Jake had promised. He had kept that promise, even through the pain, even through the guilt. He looked at the vision of his mother. "You're not her," Jake said. His voice was stronger now. "My real mother would never blame me for being brave, for following my heart, for fighting for love." The vision